Over in the pages of Marvel Comics, the X-Men are about to head into the Fall of X storyline, in which the anti-mutant group known as Orchis are about to close in over on Marvel's mutants with a multi-pronged attack. One of the ways that Orchis is setting their sights over on the mutants is by infiltrating the Quiet Council. The Quiet Council is the X-Men's governing body in which they make decisions over on Krakoa. Marvel's mutants are starting to become aware of the fact that people like Sebastian Shaw and the newly appointed Selene may be working with the anti-mutant group. My name is Ariko Brannock, and today, let's go ahead and explore some of the final moments of Immortal X-Men before the fall of X ensues the Marvel Universe. But before we get deeper into the video, I want to go ahead and encourage you to consider subscribing to the channel and hitting that like button if you enjoy our content. And I want to go ahead and introduce Immortal X-Men issue 13 with Marvel Comics solicitation text for the series. Time is running out. Fall is here. Doug Ramsey is the voice of Krakoa. It's time for Krakoa to speak. Want to introduce our creative team on Immortal X-Men 13. This one is written over from Kieron Gillen, featuring art from Lucas Werneck, colors from David Curiel, letters from VC's Clayton Cowles, design over from Tom Muller and Bowen. And we also have a look over at the cover for the issue coming in directly from Mark Brooks, showing off Doug Ramsey, celebrating the fact that it's fall in terms of the X-Men. I really like some of the themes this cover introduces with the stoic look over from Doug Ramsey. And I want to extend a big thank you to Adventures in Poor Taste for posting these previews of all these comic book issues so incredibly fast here. And I want to kick off our review for Immortal X-Men 13 by celebrating some of the gorgeous artwork coming in directly from Lucas Werneck. So in terms of Immortal X-Men 13, this is an issue that is really marching towards Fall of X and features really complicated emotions coming from Kieron Gillen's script. So I think Lucas Werneck really has a tall order in front of him to be able to render all the kind of emotion on the page and make this issue feel fulfilling, even though it's mostly a sort of talking head sequence over in the story with very limited scenarios for action. I think Lucas Werneck does a wonderful job. The really calm and serene way that he depicts Doug Ramsey over in these opening couple pages of the issue, I think is just bold and stoic. And I like how this kind of segues directly into all the drama happening within the Quiet Council of the X-Men, where Nick gets a chance to draw so many different emotions on the different X-Men, whether it's the kind of cool and collected expressions from Colossus, the twisted expressions from Exodus, or the kind of know-it-all attitude from Selene. I think that the character acting from Werneck is one of the strongest visual aspects of the issue. There's some really strong moments of action that are depicted in a really interesting way here towards the kind of middle sequence of the issue. I really appreciated the fact that Kieron Gillen kind of gave a visual representation to close out a really strong moment of the series. I love this final page depicting some of the members of the current Immortal X-Men series and Quiet Council, and thought that Werneck was able to bring a strong kind of emotional finish to this issue that is decidedly kind of climactic and sets up a lot of really important plot threads key to the X-Men universe here. So in terms of some of the scripting sequences for the issue, I think Kieron Gillen did a wonderful job in the lead up to this storyline. I think already this tale feels a little bit more climactic than Judgment Day, due to the fact that there's so many individual plot threads that are kind of colliding into each other over in Immortal X-Men 13. One of those moments was kind of getting the chance to catch up with Emma Frost and seeing the general public's reaction to some of the medicines of Krakoa. I thought that was a really interesting way to color in some of the tension that Marvel's mutants have with just the regular people of Earth. Also, really appreciated the moments with Destiny in the issue, where Destiny brought out some of the subtext over on the story. I think the fact that she's a precog and can see a little bit farther into the future makes her one of the most kind of intriguing characters to explore. And I think the way that she kind of sets up some of the themes in the issue led to some really exciting emotional moments here. Elsewhere, I really did appreciate some of the characterization with Celine as well, and the way that Celine finally got a little bit of a comeuppance in this storyline as well. I know we got a little bit of material like that earlier in the series, but good to see Celine get back in her place over in this storyline as well. There's some really potent emotional material between Doug and Xavier over in this story. I feel like from the past couple issues of X-Men Red and Immortal X-Men, they sort of been setting up the idea that Professor Xavier is kind of cracked and needs assistance kind of building himself back up to where he was at the start of the House of X and Powers of 10 storyline over at Marvel. I love how Doug recognized that and how he was the one to kind of go to Xavier to have that really important conversation with him. Watching Xavier make those final important decisions regarding the council late into the issue was absolutely wonderful. The final kind of status quo shifts over with Doug in this series also lent a bit more sort of characterization to the issue and added some additional intrigue as well. As we mentioned previously, I really like the fact that the issue featured a cliffhanger that was more of a thematic one as opposed to a big plot-centered story. And I think this script is paced really carefully over from Kieron Gillen as well here. One of the parts of the issue that I was expecting to get a little bit more of was the elements that are currently building over with Mother Righteous. Kieron Gillen recently had a chance to check in with that character over in X-Men Before the Fall, the Sinister Four. But in terms of Immortal X-Men, it looks like we'll have to wait for future issues to see how she reacts over to this Quiet Council narrative. So at the end of the day here, Immortal X-Men 13 is an incredibly explosive issue that should have some long-lasting implications on the state of Krakoa. I love the fact that this book is diving directly into all the mistakes that the X-Men made over years of trying to nurture Krakoa as a place for all mutants. And I think the way that this book has finally entered that kind of next phase of the story has been incredibly climactic due to the fact that we spent years building up to this moment. I'm really happy that all of these kind of Marvel creators have stuck with Jonathan Hickman's idea to get to these really long-lasting implications being built up over for these stories. I want to know from you, are you as excited for the upcoming issues of the Hellfire Gala and Immortal X-Men as I am? Let me know down in the comments below. What were your thoughts over on Immortal X-Men 13? Thank you so much for coming to check out our review of this explosive issue of the series. We'll be back to cover everything X-Men and Fall of X in the near future. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon. Bye.